Are you struggling with home organization, not knowing where any item is in your home when you need it the most? Well, I've got some really great solutions for you. Make sure and click the link in my bio so you can understand what are the ways that you can declutter your home, make your organizational life a lot more efficient, and live a beautiful life. My favorite topic of all time as a Virgo is how you're making a mess in your home and why you're not organized. Let's get into it. Let's face it, we are all a mess. And despite our best efforts, clutter seems to multiply overnight. I know it does for me, even though I'm constantly organizing. In fact, the last 2 days I've been on one of my manias, my husband will agree, and I have been organizing and cleaning every room. Fact, right, Oski? So what to do in these circumstances so that it doesn't get out of control? And don't worry, you're not alone. As an interior designer, I've seen it all. And I'm here to tell you that there is an organizational sort of method that I'm going to be sharing with you that is really going to help you do it correctly. Make sure you watch to the very end because some of the best tips I've saved for last. Number one, tip of all is to embrace closed storage. Don't be afraid to put things away. A lot of people feel that if they put it in a cabinet or in a cupboard that somehow it's forgotten, and it's not. If it's done in a way that is thoughtful, you can access those things and know exactly where they are. How are you going to implement this? Well, there are lots of different things you can do in order to sort of close your cabinets. And even if you don't have cabinets that close, we're going to teach you how you can do this so that you have a much better system. And one of the things that you can do is, if you're on a budget, you can add skirting to, for instance, a vanity that is floating. And that is something that is very easily doable if you know how to sew, or you can actually buy a curtain but cut it off, and that's easy to do, or take it to your local seamstress or the dry cleaner and put everything, if you have an older home, behind the skirting. It will look very cute, very chic. You just lift it and all of your necessities are there. That is one good way to do it. One way to do this is to close your open shelving. So if you have open shelving everywhere, you might want to close the bottom half of your shelving. This is not difficult to do. You can hire a local carpenter, or buy some doors maybe, or go to your lumber store and close half of your open shelving. If you're in the middle of designing a home, which I know a lot of you are because I meet you on Zoom, which is so fun. I can't even tell you how much fun I've had meeting you guys every week after week, and re-meeting you and going through your project. So if you guys have questions regarding your design dilemmas, I am here for you always and forever. You can click the Zoom link in the description section where I'm available for either a 25-minute meeting or longer, just by clicking my calendar in the description section below. Now, in your living areas, another way that you can declutter, these are sort of the bigger, sort of more expansive suggestions that I'm giving you. However, we're going to go into the nitty-gritty, which all of us can do today. But in your living spaces, if you have for instance, credenza that's open, it might be time to upgrade to a closed credenza. Why? Well, clutter. Put everything that is visually unappealing, that shouldn't be in your way, and stick them in your cabinets. You can actually create a beautiful statement focal point and put a beautiful vase with some gorgeous branches, and all the garbage like shoes or your umbrella, or this could be by a door, all the things that you use daily can go into this cabinet. And I can tell you that it just makes a much better, cleaner, easier life. Now, before I get into the next step, please don't forget to subscribe, because we are putting out so much content to the point where we can't even remember or keep up with the amount of content that we're putting out, because you guys are reacting so positively towards this content. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you. So we really, really appreciate it. We are almost, as of this video, 92,000 subscribers. So guys, we're so close to the 100,000 mark, and I couldn't have done it without you. So taking this quick minute to click subscribe, which doesn't cost anything, is going to be really monumental. All right, tip number 2, keeping everyday items accessible and non-everyday items in storage. A well-organized home is not only visually appealing, but also functional and efficient. So by keeping everyday items easy to access And non-everyday items and storage, and I don't mean, an off-site storage facilities, it means storing them in a cabinet. You can create a space that is both clutter-free and functional, because let's be honest, we're all in a hurry, running at 100 miles an hour. So we need to be organized. The more organized you are, the less time you're going to spend looking for things, and that makes your life plenty more efficient. So place frequently used items in designated areas. I can't stress this enough. There goes my husband. Honey, how often do you lose things? Every day? Yeah.
Every day.
Every day he's losing things. Why?
Every day.
And what do I say?
You don't put it back.
You don't put it back. That is exactly what he said. He never puts anything back in its location. So if you train yourself to automatically put things back where you got them, you will do it without even thinking, and you will never be looking for items. So you can keep kitchen utensils in a utensil holder. You can keep office supplies in a desk organizer. This is a really good exercise to limit the amount of time that you stress out looking for items. Consider accessibility. So place frequently used items in easy to reach little storage sort of containers. So consider accessibility. So think about what you never use and where to place them versus what you use daily. In most kitchens that, I see a lot of clients, weekly, right? So I go to many, many different people's homes, and I always find that the best places in their kitchens are usually filled for things they never use. So for example, their Cuisinarts, their wedding gifts are literally right there front and center, or their really fancy china is in a cabinet that's the most accessible cabinet. Rethink this. You put the things that you use once a year in far away, non-accessible, higher reaching storage places like an upper cabinet in a kitchen, because you're really going to access those items once a year. And think about what it is that you use frequently and put those at arm's reach. It sounds so trivial and so obvious, but I am guaranteed if I were to ask some of you where you place your everyday items, you are going to tell me that they are actually out of reach. I want you guys to sound off in this video and let me know if your best cabinets are reserved for the things you hardly ever use. And if that's you, I want to hear about it. So tip number 3, grouping and anchoring your like items in a way that's very chic, because we're not saying to put everything in a cabinet, close the door, because we know that's not realistic. However, clutter can quickly pile unless you've got a designated little tray or a designated little spot where you can keep, and very beautifully, might I say, your everyday items. So if you've got a skincare routine, I know I do, and it keeps growing, by the way. So that's going to be a bit of a problem to just put on one tray. So I actually have 2 trays, but at least they're confined to one location. And when I need to pack, I know exactly what to do. I'll dump the entire tray into a to-go bag. But the idea is very simple, yet very effective solution to grouping items on trays. And it can really have a great impact on your stress-free life. Your life is stressful enough. So while trays are popular and versatile for organization, there are many other creative ways to anchor your belongings and create a more organized space, such as books. So use stacks of books to elevate, for instance, smaller items such as candles or decor. So not only are you displaying your books, but you're also using them in a multi-faceted, multi-purposeful way, so that you don't create what would be visually considered as clutter. The next tip is a big mistake I see very, very often. Remember, tip number 4, hide your appliances, guys. Let's not display the appliances. I know it's hard in small homes. I get a lot of feedback from you guys telling me, Nina, your suggestions are wonderful, but I don't own enough storage space, or I don't own a home big enough. So what I am suggesting is going to apply to a lot of us. First and foremost, are we using these appliances daily? If we're using them daily, yes, they have to be out. So group them together or in a place that is more clandestine in your kitchen. Don't have one toaster here, the toaster oven there, the Cuisinart here, the mixer there. At least group them together so they're out of the way. And one wonderful thing that we are doing is that we're doing appliance garages. We're doing them in every single home that we are designing right now. There isn't a home right now that is not getting the appliance wardrobe, I like to call it. It's a floor to ceiling cabinet, and it has pocket doors. These pocket doors swing back, and voila, when you open them, you've got all of your clutter. And by the way, even the clutter is looking organized and beautiful. So, but if you don't like to be organized and beautiful, I get it. Have your closet, have your pocket doors, and you can even do this yourself. I have had people reach out to me who have used hardware from Blum or other companies, and they have transformed their lives by creating these appliance garages. So for kitchen appliances, definitely consider that. And alternatively, you can dedicate a cabinet in your kitchen to all of your appliances. Just make sure you've got an outlet. I've got friends who have toasters in an upper cabinet because they were smart enough to put an outlet in there, and it's out of sight, out of mind. In your bedroom, use under bed storage containers with wheels. Now, I have purchased mine, I can't remember where, I think it was either IKEA or online, I can't remember, but in my beach home, we have very, very, very little space, and I have these roll out under bed storage units, and I love them. In fact, they're so easy. You just roll them out, you grab whatever it is, and you roll them back. In fact, I've got one for me, I've got one for my husband, and so on. So there is no reason why you can't be organized. Don't forget your vertical space either. You can install high shelves and closets that are just sitting there. You've got wall space. A lot of people have wall space in walk-in closets or, whatever it may be that is being underutilized. So your vertical storage is really important. Buy shelves. You can buy them at IKEA. You can mount them in places where we don't care what it looks like, but we can certainly put away luggage. We can put away items that we really don't access every day, or in your garage for items that you use occasionally. So if you've got suitcases, duffel bags, camping gear, whatever it may be, everyone forgets their vertical storage. Go to Home Depot, go to IKEA, buy the shelves. Just do it. Do it, mount it, put it up, and you will be free of the clutter. Remember, the goal is to keep your countertops, tables, and your visible surfaces as clear as possible. This can only be achieved by implementing some of these ideas. Tip number 4, utilizing every nook and cranny in your home. I do this. I've got a dog. I've got 2 kids who went to college and somehow they returned, and now I don't know if they're ever leaving, which I'm actually secretly happy about. Although sometimes when I'm making dinner, or I should say my husband's making dinner for 14 people, I'm thinking to myself, what happened to being an empty nester? I was watching, totally digressing, but I have to say, I was watching Brooke Shields on TikTok or on Instagram yesterday crying, I'm an empty nester, I'm an empty nester. I'm like, girl, you do not need to cry, because within 4 short years, they're back. And it's as if they never left. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be living an empty nesting life, and I'm not supposed to be doing laundry and cleaning. Anyway, I digress, but I had to share. Tip number 4, do you have a particular nook or niche in your tight corner or your home and you're wondering what to do with it? Well, either you can create an amazing vignette with it, or in a small apartment home, you can utilize it as storage. If you have a deep niche, consider having custom built shelves installed to fit the space perfectly. A lot of, small little areas are very useful. And going back to sort of the closed storage concept, you can place an armoire or a bar cabinet in this niche to hide clutter and add more visual interest in a corner or a focal point in the room. We've done this quite a bit in apartments in New York where space is tight, and we'll float a desk slash storage slash printer, and a lot happens in these visual corners and in these tight spaces that you cannot imagine. By the way, since so many of you asked today, I'm wearing a sweater dress. That's right, a sweater dress. I typically don't wear sweater dresses, but I'm so into them this season, and I'm gonna look for more because I love just throwing one piece of clothing on and rushing out the door. It's kind of like the organizational it kind of matches this video where you don't have time, you gotta be smart, you throw the one piece on. So this adorable outfit I will link for you in the description section for those of you that are interested. Tip number 5, create drop zones. So one of the main culprits of household clutter is the lack of designated spaces for everyday items. Without a proper home for things like keys, mail, recycling bags, etc., clutter is just gonna add up. On my nightstand, I recently put a little box that I got from Amazon, and in there I have things like my tweezers, my hand cream, my lip cream, all the things that I might need that typically would sit on a nightstand, but it's in a cute little box that is handy. That is clear that everything that I use at night is at arm's reach, but it's also quite organized. So identify high traffic areas in your home, typically next to an entry, and do something with it. In my entryway, I've got a bowl that's beautiful. It's a beautiful pedestal bowl, and inside we drop our keys because sometimes one is blocking the other and we need to be able to move each other's cars. So we just drop it in there and it looks great. And set up a small table or console table, even a mounted wall shelf if you've got leashes for your dogs or whatever it may be, hooks, bags, coats, anything. And also another thing you can do is place a small tray for items like wallets and sunglasses. So instead of coming home and just dropping everything everywhere and nobody knows where anything is, have designated spots and make sure that everybody adheres to these rules, because then everybody is happy. Nobody is asking anybody for keys in this house when they're waking up, you know, very, very early and need to go to the gym and somebody's blocking them. The keys are automatically where they need to be, and it makes life so much easier. So by creating these designated spaces, you'll prevent items from, that's right, migration. And this will definitely make your life a lot easier. I hope that these suggestions were helpful. It is important for me to hear feedback from you guys to understand if you love more organizational tips. We can go into the nitty-gritty of items that you could use to organize, whether it's your bathroom, your kitchen, your linen closet, whatever it may be. Sound off below and we can give you the content you are searching for. Thanks again, and we'll see you again on this channel, The Red Elevator.